Hello everyone, welcome to part one of a three-part series of videos that will cover revisions and clouds and how we use them here at RedBuilt. Today's video is going to cover the parts and tools used in revisions. Those parts include the revision dialog box, the cloud tool, and the annotation tag for the clouds. Let's start with the revision dialog box. At the top of Revit, under the View tab, and about 2/3 of the way down the ribbon, there's the Revisions tool. Once you select that, the Revision dialog box appears. Across the top, we have Sequence, Revision Number, the type of numbering we will be using, a date for the revision, a description for the revision, if it was been issued, who it was issued to, who it was issued by, and whether or not you want to display the cloud, the tag, the cloud and tag, or nothing at all. Please note that we do not currently have a need for selecting the Issued button or the Issued to. Your initials will be actually entered here under Issued by. Of course, a description for your revision, the date you revised it, and what that revision number is. That is actually a system default. Across the side on the right, we have a button that will allow us to add additional revisions. Simply click Add, and Revision 2 will pop in, and will carry the same information as Revision 1 did, but it will be tied to Revision 2. To remove a revision sequence, simply highlight the row and select Delete. Below that is a numbering, the type of numbering we're using. Currently, we would like to keep this as per project, not per sheet. I believe the per project is going to actually help us keep it a little cleaner and more to how we really do it. Per sheet seems to be a little bit messy, so I don't use them. As far as the organization of rows, moving them up or down or merging them, I have not found a use for this yet either. And for the numbering options, I've left that as numeric. Probably the most important part of the revision dialog box is this piece down here, which is the arc length. This is where we can actually specify the length of that cloud arc. Sometimes I think out of the box this was set to like 3/4 of an inch, and it was pretty big and it took up a lot of real estate. So what I have found as a really good starting point is 1/8 of an inch, or 0.125 inches. And certainly play with this. It is a preference, but if you're looking for a starting point, I believe 1/8 of an inch will get you a decent starting point. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. The next part that I'd like to talk about is the revision cloud. Where that revision cloud can be found is under the Annotate tab, and about 1/3 of the way in, you'll see the Revision Cloud tool. Now, we tend to cloud quite a number of things, or do it oftenly. So what I've done is I've actually right-clicked on this command, and I've added it to my Quick Access toolbar. Currently, that option is grayed out here, but you can see I've already added that. Now, this will allow you to work inside other tabs and ribbons and access this cloud tool without having to leave your current area, go to the Annotate tab and find it. So it's highly recommended that you add this one to your Quick Access toolbar. Once you do, you initiate this, you're going to notice that your screen turns a different color. And again, as I've always kind of found out with Revit, is that we need to, when we're working in a command, once you activate it, pay special attention to your modify, where you're at. You're in a modify setup. What your options bar is asking you or telling you, and to what is your dialog or property, or sorry, not dialog, but your properties box. What is it containing inside of here? So across the top under our modify, you can see that we actually have a mode. We are actually in mode. So this command needs to be either canceled or accepted after you've used it. You do have some options for offsets and radius. Haven't really played with that much. And in my properties box, you can see that these clouds are currently tied to revision 1. With the command active, it's super easy. You can use your draw palette to draw a number of different geometric shapes that will be in the form of a cloud. I think rectangle is probably your easiest as a two-pick point. But if you wanted to use a circle, you could certainly use a circle. And or if you wanted to use an ellipse, you can certainly use an ellipse. Didn't do so good on that one. But you can also finish that out. So make sure once you're done that you actually finish that out or cancel. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and cancel. And we're going to go ahead and do it again because there are two different ways that you can do this. You can cloud things individually. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw one cloud and I'm going to accept it. I'm going to activate that command again through my quick access toolbar, and I'm going to draw another cloud around the 12-foot dimension and accept that. Now these are what I would call clouding individually. The benefit to this is that they are not tied together. They are separate from each other. That means that I can apply a sequence of revision 1 to this cloud, and if I had a separate or a new revision, I can actually apply a second revision to this one. The other way to cloud is to do it in a group, and that was kind of what I did with all those geometric shapes. And I'm going to do that in this lower section to show you some benefits and pitfalls to that as well. So by activating the cloud command, what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the one command and hitting as many clouds as I can before I accept. Now, the pitfall to that is great because it's really nice because it is a time saver, but the pitfall here is that they are tied together, meaning that you cannot assign different or other sequences to these. These two have to be tied to the same sequence of revisions. And or if one is answered and the other is not, one has to be shown and the other one has to be left clouded. The other one gets cleaned up, but they are tied together. That means that if you delete one, the other goes with it. Okay. It is a time saver, and sometimes that may lend itself useful. Other times it may not. So you'll have to decide if it's better to cloud individually or cloud as a group. I prefer individually. All right, the next tool that I wanted to show you guys was the tag, and that's located underneath the annotate tab here. And we're going to go over to the tag by category button. And again, that same rule, something changed. We need to be paying attention to our modify area, our options bar, and our properties box. So this tag is where we can add a revision note or a cloud note. As you hover over that cloud, you're going to see this question mark pop in. Now I'm going to move that out of the way. This is by default in the template a starting point for us. So if you're clouding something and you want to add a note, say AOR to verify, you can simply type that in and click away, and there you go. You've actually got a comment that is associated, a tag, but it's a comment tag associated to this cloud. This is a single line piece of text, so please keep your descriptions or your questions or your comment brief. Otherwise, it'll just be one long string piece of text. If you are getting kind of wordy, I would recommend you don't use this part of it, that you actually create a separate text box and actually add a very wordy piece of text inside of there. The other thing about this is that you can actually add leaders. So if you are in a tight confined area, you can select that and add a leader to it. Now that wherever that text is placed, it is actually tied to that cloud, so a little easier, maybe in tighter areas if you're asking questions to use that. Don't have to go with that. You can also change the orientation. So if you look at the options bar across here, you can go horizontal or vertical. So again, whatever you need to do in order to utilize the space available and to get that out there. Now the options that were listed across the options bar top here are also included in your properties box as well. So you can do those edits either in your options bar or in your properties box. Then there's another part of this tag. So this is a comment tag, and that's kind of out of the box going OFA. If you look at your dialog, or your sorry, not your dialog box, but your properties box, you're going to see that right now we are under the RB Rev Cloud Note tab. Under the drop down, there is the revision tag. So once this comes back from OFA and you have an answer, you can select revision tag, and now you've got that delta. At that point, I would probably turn those to where they're a little more into plan view and not turned over on its side. So that's how we toggle between the comment and or the delta that we would like to use. All right. That concludes part one of this three-part series on revisions and clouds. Please check out video part 2 for more information on how to use these at OFA and R&R. Thanks for watching.